Well, I wanted to introduce the video quick. This is part 3 of 3 of the 2019 late muzzleloader season here in Iowa. If you haven't watched the first 2 parts, be sure to hit the description box below and click the links to watch the first 2. It might make a little bit more sense, then you'll get a better overall feel of what's going on in this season. And this video is actually going to be a little bit longer than we're used to. Might be one of the longer videos we've ever made, but really wanted to just wrap up the season in a whole and make sure I show all of the good footage, all the lessons learned, all of the strategy that went into it. So that's why it's a little bit longer. It spans 10 days basically of hunting, and just wanted to show all the action that I could and wrap up the season, and hopefully you guys like it. If you don't want to listen to me blabbing so much and talking about strategy, feel free to skip ahead whenever you want to. Some people don't like the talking, but a lot of people want to hear us talk more and do more strategies. So trying to find that balance, but hope you like it, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Well, just got to a brand new spot. Never driven by it, never stepped foot on it. We've been hunting really hard for the last week and a half or so now already. I'm on Christmas break, so I have a decent amount of time left, and we've hit a lot of the spots out here on public that we know are good and that we have confidence in. So I'm trying to expand a little bit again. We funded a couple of new places this season, or this late season already still, but we've been really trying to key in on the areas that we know of. But starting to tap out those areas. We've actually had a ton more action than we usually do this time of year. This time of year is just super tough because all the gun hunting pressure is already rolled through, and out here in Iowa, a lot of people, the shotgun season falls in all of December, which isn't the best for movement anyhow. So the kind of the tradition, the way a lot of people hunt them are deer drives, and it just really shuts down movement after they go through, and they kill a lot. So that's what we are battling here on the public land. We've been focusing on public land, at least Trevor and I have. Dad's been hunting an equal amount of public and private, our farm, but we've been doing that just because, well, we like the challenge. We still really like hunting public land, obviously. That'll never go away, but we also just don't have any fully mature bucks that we're really targeting on the farm. So rather than sitting there and hoping one shows up, we've been out here trying on the public land. We've had some good hunts. Trevor missed one, and we should have shot one yesterday morning actually, but I wanted him to shoot it. Trevor, it's his last night tonight, so he's actually going to the farm. I'm going to try to shoot it out. Hopefully I'll have some luck. But we actually should have shot one yesterday morning, and I wanted to get him on it because it was his last day, and by the time he got on it, it was running through our opening, so it just didn't work out. This spot is it actually has never jumped out to me on the maps, which I think could be good, because if something jumps out to me on a map, it's probably going to get hunted by other people. But it's got a lot of river bottom in it, and then some ridges that leads up to some hay fields, and looks like I can get back in there a little ways. So hopefully, with any luck, this will be a hot spot that didn't get too much pressure, and we'll have some luck.
Just spooked my first deer. It was, I think, probably bedded up there, and it ran down this ridge.
I'm not really upset about it, to be honest. I actually think it was a buck. I thought I saw a flash of antler. I didn't get a good look at it. I was honestly hoping to bump something. I was like, getting to the point where I was like, there might not be any deer in here. I've been sweating the whole time. The access is really tough. So hopefully that's a good sign. Hopefully that wasn't a shooter and I just blew it, but I'm gonna go up here a little ways and hopefully I see some more.
Holy cow. There's a shed. Well, he ought to be a good one by now.
Well, it is January 1st. Happy New Year. Start of 2020. Let's see if my luck changes and I'll get a shot at a nice buck to start off the new year. So, Happy New Year, everyone. We're out here in the little buck unit and we've hunted this place quite a bit now this late muzzleloader season. It's probably the most frequently hunted spot so far for us, just because we ran a trail camera here and we're really confident in it. We know there's big deer in here and several shooters, so we wanted to focus on a little bit more and focus on these spots that we have confidence in. It's also a lot closer for us, and the walk-in isn't that bad compared to a lot of the things that we do. So that's why we've been hunting it, and we've had some really good hunts in here too. But we think the mature bucks just aren't coming down here and exposing themselves in the wide open. The longer the season has gone on, the more of this marsh grass has kind of matted down. Since the gun season and since those late November hunts, I think the deer have changed their patterns a little bit and they like to stick into the cover a little bit more. But there's still a lot of food. All these honey locust pods and pin oaks are still dropping, so there's still plenty of natural browse down here in these bottoms. And it's kind of windy. Any of the windy days, I feel like they just come down and they start to browse. But we're actually going to be going into that cove again and hope to have some better luck. We're going to be going to the far end of it. We've been hunting like kind of the mouth of the cove, I guess you could say, or the widest part, and been able to shoot in. And I think we need to get back up in there a little bit more and get into some better cover so that they don't even have to expose themselves, because there's going to be browse down there all the way in. We just haven't gotten the right conditions to do it yet, and still honestly not the best conditions. The wind is perfectly wrong for our access, so it's kind of 50-50, but it'll be good once we get set up, and that's kind of what I have to do. We've tried hunting it on the other conditions and it just hasn't worked out. I know there's big deer in here, so we're going to make a pretty aggressive move and get up into the cover a little bit in that cove, and hopefully they'll come down and feed. So I'm going to finish walking in here. We're getting in at a pretty good time. It's warm, pretty terrible conditions honestly this whole late season has been. We've been having really good luck for as bad as the conditions are, as warm as it's been, and on the days it's not warm it's been windy. But we're still out here trying and we're having some decent luck. So anyway, I'm gonna keep walking in and I'll show you the setup when we get there. Well, there's still bucks in here. The scrape down there was opened up a few days ago when we were hunting this, and I covered it up, kicked a bunch of grass into it, and it's back open again. So there's still bucks in here, and they might even still be feeling frisky. And apparently they like toys. Old floodplain toys washed up in here. Should probably take that out, get it out of the way. I actually think maybe that pressure will force even more deer up in here and really stack this area. In fact, I know we stacked this bedding, like all of this north side should have more deer in it today, because yesterday we actually did a wind bump on the south side and nothing big came out of it. That's actually kind of how I know that this place definitely got pushed, is I actually found a few dead deer and they were just in the thickest stuff imaginable. So hopefully it was from those deer driving groups, just couldn't find them. Hopefully they actually looked, but it was kind of sad to see that there were some unrecovered deer, and it was, I'd say, probably from the gun seasons, just because they were, you know, definitely 2 to 3 weeks old. That's how long they had been dead. So anyway, nothing big came out, but that should actually stack all the deer to this side. And yeah, since then this place really hasn't gotten that much hunting pressure. We've been hunting it and we haven't seen hardly anyone else, so it should be pretty good. There's a lot of trails that converge down here. Like I said, the wind was wrong for anything, for my access. The wind was wrong for anything bedded in this bottom. But there's just a bunch of bedding. They could be anywhere. Like all of these, both in every direction really. There's a bunch of thick cedars and thick stuff, so they should have been bedded in there. So didn't spook anything to my knowledge, and hopefully we'll have a good hunt.
well, that's probably gonna wrap it up for tonight. Overall, I think probably my best sit of the late muzzleloader season so far. Just unfortunately didn't see any shooters, but I did see 3 younger bucks and 3 does. So overall, I think probably my best set as far as the amount of bucks. It's been kind of slow, I guess, saying that out loud, but not too bad. Just needed one to be a little bit bigger. And they were staying up there on the private land, but I've seen them come down here just as much, so maybe next time. Well, over the next few days, I didn't really get into a ton of action, so I thought I'd just overlay some clips, some of the highlights, I suppose, and then summarize it a bit to save everyone just a bit of time. The most notable hunts out of these few days were a morning hunt where I went to the place I killed my 2018 muzzleloader buck, and I really thought it would be action-packed. There's just a ton of sign. You ran a trail camera, got pictures of a lot of big deer in there during the rut, and it's still just as tore up as it was last year. But I went in there one morning, decided to give it a go, and just didn't see anything until I walked out. So obviously didn't really have too much motivation to go back in. And then another cool hunt was a spot in a brand new unit that's a lot of big timber, but then had this thicket on top of this ridge that led out into some private land. It looked like food plots on the map. So I went in and set up in between the two and ended up having a pretty action-packed hunt. Just didn't see a single buck, and there honestly wasn't a lot of buck sign, so I didn't really want to go back there either. And then there was a few other hunts in the mix that just not much was going on at all. So then the next hunt that I'm going to show you is actually on the farm, and there was just enough good action, and it was a really enjoyable hunt. I think it'll be fun to watch, so I decided to throw it in the video. Alright guys, we're out here on the farm this morning. I'm hoping it'll be a nice break from the struggles on public, dealing with land that's been pressured during the gun season, and then also doesn't have the best late season food, along with our warm weather. It's really been a struggle so far. We were doing pretty well, but the last week, like Trevor got a shot, we saw a couple of shooters, and then the last week I've kind of been struggling, kind of running out of places that I know of that are good, so kind of winging it. But anyway, out here on the farm this morning, and I don't really expect to shoot something because we don't know of any shooters. That's why we've been focusing on public, and we like hunting public too, but we don't know of any more like really mature deer on the farm that we want to shoot this year. We do have the big 9, and I think he is probably a 5-year-old, but he could be 4. We don't have any history with him prior to this year, and have already taken 3 bucks off the farm, and even if he is 5, we think he could get bigger next year, so we're just hoping he's made it. Dad saw him maybe one of the first 2 weekends of gun season, so we're hoping that he made it through. I'd really like to just get eyes on him and see him in person, and maybe get some film of him too, so he'd be a really cool buck to see. Hope he's still alive. Other than that, I'm not really sure if we have any more mature bucks, but we're sitting in this back 40 that's basically our sanctuary. Nobody has gone in here since July. No one has stepped foot on this 40 acres since July. So if there's anywhere that there could be a surprise buck, I'd guess this to be the spot. And we've had trail cameras up the whole season, but most of them have been dead. I'd say a majority of them have been dead. At least the ones in the good spots have been dead for at least a month. So with all of our late season food, we have 15-20 acres of beans standing. With all that food, it wouldn't be too far off the walls to get a new buck to move in this late season, other than it hasn't been quite cold enough. If it was super cold, I'd probably be hunting the farm more and banking on that, but if a surprise buck does come in that's like
180. Definitely a shooter. That'd be really cool, but if not, I'm hoping that it's just at least a really good change of pace and a fun sit. And I'm just really excited to be out on the farm, maybe try to get some video of our bucks and see, but hopefully it'll be a good sit. It's like one of the coldest mornings of the late season so far, and it feels really good. High pressure, first south wind. Up in front of me I have a huge bedding area, and then I'm also in a travel corridor between more bedding areas on the ridge tops. And like 3 or 4 branches of creeks come together right here. It's an awesome rut spot, but like I said, no one's hunted this spot all year, so had to come in here to get a trail camera anyway, because I'm around all the trail cameras today, so I had to come in here anyway, so figured I might as well hunt it, see what happens. I think I'm gonna go ahead and climb down now. What a fun morning. Yeah, it's actually starting to wonder if I was gonna have as good of a hunt as I thought. The movement didn't pick up until maybe 45 minutes after sunrise. I think they were just out feeding. That's also probably why I was able to get in without bumping anything. But super fun hunt. I ended up seeing 7 bucks, actually 8 bucks, 2 spikes. Most of them were 2 or 3 year olds. There might have been 1 4-year-old that I don't think I got much footage of, if I got any. And he was pretty nice. a couple of them that I recognized, but then a couple of just generic 2 or 3 year olds. So really fun to see those deer. Also saw, I think, 7 or 8 does. So really, and a couple of those ones could have been repeat, but really a pretty dang good morning hunt for late season, and not even sit down a field. It's a pretty dang good morning hunt. That was really fun. Needed that for sure. So they're actually still moving. I just saw that last group of does, but I'm gonna climb down and get the cameras. I'll be going slow, so if they're still moving, I could still see more. Hopefully they won't bust me, but gonna go home for today and tomorrow, and then I'll be back down Wednesday to hunt until the season closes. So catch you later. Alright guys, I'm set up in the same spot that I hunted about a week ago here in the Little Buck unit. I'm actually at the exact same tree. I had it, really for the last week. That's been kind of my best hunt since then. Haven't seen really any bucks, so I saw 3, actual racked bucks that night, and the conditions weren't even as good as they are tonight. They were up right on the private and public fence line. I can see it from here, but I can't really shoot it, and I can't shoot across the fence anyway. So honestly, at this point in the season, if any of those types of bucks come down and give me like a good shot on film, it'll be interesting to see what I do, whether I shoot them or not. I was trying to hold out for something bigger, but only have tonight and then 2 more days left. So coming around to the wire, and during that time I also definitely need to kill a doe off the farm. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. All I ended up seeing was like just a boatload of does. I didn't see any bucks in there. At least there could have been some, because there's a lot of deer up in the timber that hadn't come down. But it was like a couple different groups converged all right down there, and they ended up busting me, which I'm not surprised. My wind's rolling down here, so I knew if a big group came down, I would have a limited amount of time, and I'm just gonna hope that the buck stepped out with early enough. But just no bucks. Alright, this morning, set up in the unit we call Bushy Bottom, which used to kind of be a joke, but now we've said it enough times that it's not even really funny anymore. I'm actually sitting really close to where Dad sat last time. We were in here 5 mornings ago, I think. And we saw, between the two of us, probably 15 deer. So, pretty good hunt for public in the late season. It's been a pretty good spot the entire time. This is really close to where Trevor had that close call and that unfortunate miss. And anyway, I got in here really early. And, just like to be early. I was gonna just take a nap when I get in here, but I kind of had deer move in on me, and there were some deer within like 15 yards for about 15 minutes, about a half hour before shooting light. And then once it got shooting light, there was a huge group of deer that moved through, and I've never actually been right here, so I didn't know that I couldn't shoot to where they were at, 'cause I knew they were gonna be up in there. There's a finger that works out into a cornfield, and there's that cornfield down there is still standing, so I knew there was going to be deer coming back from there. But I really thought I could see a little bit further and shoot a little bit further. I can only see and shoot about 40 yards. Anyway, there must have been 20 deer in that group. I saw a couple of smaller bucks, but I didn't see any shooters. But I didn't get a good look at most of them. It was actually pretty dark too, so it's too bad. I feel like there's probably a decent one in that group, and then they just worked up into that thicker cedars and stuff. I think they're probably bedded up there, so I don't know. Hopefully have some more work through and a little bit closer range, but I don't know if I really want to adjust and go down there, because I could spook them, and even if I go another 20 yards, I don't think I can shoot where they were at, so we'll see. Well, it's probably gonna wrap up the morning. Probably my best morning for how many deer I've seen, besides when I sat on the farm. I actually think I might have seen more deer, just less bucks, and I think there could have been bucks in that first group. I ended up having a couple of deer come from behind me up here. Didn't get any film of those because the camera was on the other side of me. And they ended up getting my wind, spooking, but it was just a doe and a fawn, and then I had a button buck and a doe fawn, I think, come down, and they got to within like 10 yards of me. That's pretty cool. Oh, and then I also had another group follow the exact same path as that first group since I last talked to you guys. And I got better footage of those ones. A couple of little bucks in there. So at least it wasn't all those, but I think now I'm gonna try to walk up there and see if I can get a good setup to see where all those deer are crossing, because the majority of them followed the same trail. So I'm gonna go see what that looks like, and I'm guessing I'll be back in here before season closes. And I'm thinking I might try to get a doe with my bow tonight on the farm, but I'm just not sure whether I want to just try to keep hunting here and then wait until the last minute to try to shoot a doe. It is the final day of this late muzzleloader season, so it's kind of sad. Hate to see it go, but I'm also really excited for this off season. Get to do more scouting. I want to do more scouting on public, and then of course all of our off season projects on the farm. Honestly, like that stuff just as much as the actual hunting, so it's a year-round thing and don't have to be too sad. But I'm also really excited to shed hunt too. Trevor just got a new dog, so hopefully he'll be a stud. Maybe not by this season, but anyway, set up back in Bushy Bottom. You know, for this is the last hunt that I'll be on public, and the last hunt that I'll be targeting a buck. If I haven't killed anything by tonight, I'm gonna go to the farm and try to shoot another doe, because we really need to kill one more for our doe management goals. We've killed 3 bucks off of it this year, so we want to keep that ratio up at 1-to-1, and our buck to doe ratio is really good right now. So if we kill one more, it should be good. And it'll be a lot of fun too. We could use another freezer queen, and I'm sure at the shot I'll be just as excited as I would be for a buck. So it'll be a lot of fun, but this is my last morning hunt for bucks. So went back to Bushy Bottom. This has been probably the consistently been the best spot this late season. I don't think it really got pushed because it's so thick. I just don't think it would set up good for a push. I think that's why it's been so good. And it's also just surrounded by food. But I thought about going back to the same spot as I was in yesterday morning, just further down the ravine, where I could see where all they crossed. But we haven't seen any mature bucks in that spot. That was like the 3rd time we had hunted that. And then being as we'd hunted it a couple times, I figured we'd left enough ground scent that a mature buck might not come through. So I came to a brand new spot within this bedding area. I just heard a twig break, so I'm gonna wrap this up. It's just surrounded by bedding, and I have, a different food source than what I was targeting, but another food source up ahead, so could be good. I hope it is. There's 2 heavy trails meet right here, and a big scrape, which I don't know if it's still active or not, but it's a good sign.
Well, that's going to wrap up the video here, and that's going to wrap up the entire 2019 deer hunting season. It's tough to see it go. It's been tough to look back and edit this whole series and remember all the things that we kind of screwed up and led to us not getting one. But at the same time, it was fun to rewatch it and learn from our mistakes, and also just realize how many good opportunities we had. You can't let opportunity to slip through your fingers. You're not probably going to get more than one opportunity. And between Trevor and I and Dad, we had, you know, 2 good opportunities to get a nice buck on public in this late season. So I definitely can't be too upset about it. And actually, I didn't show the 2 hunts on the farm, 2 afternoon hunts, the 2 final afternoon hunts of the season. I went out to the farm to doe hunt, and I have to tell you what, that does hurt. I couldn't even get a doe those 2 afternoons. The first one, I could have shot one with my muzzleloader, but I only had an Any-Sex tag for my muzzleloader, so I just took my bow and I set up on the ground. It was going to be super cool, a bunch of camera angles on just a beat to heck trail that I'd found when I took the trail cameras out and scouted. But it was a 60-degree day and just nothing was moving. It's so windy, like 50-mile-per-hour gusts, nothing wanted to come out and move. And unfortunately just didn't get anything in range. And then the last afternoon of the 2019 season, I went and hunted a tree stand of all things. We have box blinds, but I really wanted to hunt this field because no one had all year, and that would have been, you know, the best place to kill a doe, to spread out the doe harvest on the farm. And I could hardly even get in the stand. It was so icy. It was just a complete downpour. I really didn't believe the weather when it said it was gonna rain all afternoon. I thought, you know, it would turn into snow. That's what it's supposed to do in the wintertime. Just a complete downpour. Midway through the hunt, I ended up just covered in ice, and it was kind of fun at the same time. You know, just a little bit of that misery gets you going a little bit. But finally, when the deer finally did come out, and I just was losing hope, finally when they did come out, they were so spooky because of all the conditions, and my gun was actually frozen to the tree. I could not get it out without spooking them. And by the time I got it off, they had moved into the woods and I didn't have a clear shot. And I was playing peekaboo with those deer the rest of the night, and finally just cut my losses, and it was the end of the legal shooting light, and that was the season. So it's pretty rough not to at least be able to get a doe, and really I should have just left myself more time. And I had plenty of opportunities to shoot a doe, but when you wait to the last minute, it just doesn't come together. But that's gonna end the video here. Hopefully you enjoyed it, learned something from it. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to see future content. We're gonna be doing a lot of off-season scouting here, and we're also gonna be starting our habitat improvements. You know, actually here on the channel, we've been getting a lot of feedback wondering what we're gonna do next on the farm, which is cool to see. I like seeing people engaged and wondering what we're gonna be doing on it. We have a lot of cool projects. Mainly a little bit redesign on our food plots, adding some switchgrass, some more switchgrass. We'll be sure to take you guys along with us, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and follow us along our journey. Thanks for watching, guys.